This is Crowdspeak. This is Dax.
Hey Jay,
And we are bringing you
FitBiz Friday. So let's start with the greetings first.
Yep.
Okay, I just want to greet a few people. We have Jap, my girlfriend. Hi Jap.
Hi, Jap.
Okay. That's too short. Okay. I hope you're fine with your studies in PLM. I'll have to greet your sister as well, Jenny. Hi Jenny, congratulations to your. Okay, she's graduating this semester in UST.
Congratulations.
And Raph, he had his birthday last Tuesday. So happy birthday, Raph. I know I greeted you, but okay.
And, yeah, I'd like to greet my wife, Sai, and hi.
Hi, Sai.
And Gian. He actually listened to the pilot episode. Yep, that's all for the greetings.
All right. Let's go straight to the topic. Our topic today is
Why employees leave companies. So,
Okay.
of course, it's not. Well, we all know that there are some cases where you would need to leave your company. Of course, for those circumstances.
like in my case, I just recently left my company. Well, not recently actually. That's April 1, last April 1.
Yep, so you've been unemployed for.
I can totally relate to this one.
Yep. So, of course, these are the main reasons, or these are just some of the reasons why employees leave their companies or decide to leave the company.
Alright.
So the first one is low pay.
Okay.
Yep. So of course it's pretty much self-explanatory. Some people say that they're overworked. Or
Well,
overpaid.
most people, the reason why they leave companies are because of this: overworked, underpaid.
Or the effort isn't compensated well.
Yeah.
That's one of the reasons why we choose to leave the company. Of course, looking for greener pastures or looking for a better position.
Yeah, but of course that won't happen until you're like 2 years or a year in your company. First, of course, you're experiencing like some kind of honeymoon phase.
Yep.
Like you're happy, you have your job, and you have your workmates, cool workmates, awesome supervisor, and then after 6 months, everything will go downhill from there.
Yep. You start realizing,
Or seeing things that you couldn't see before.
or you start feeling that the amount you're getting every month isn't enough for what you're actually doing.
Mm-hmm.
So you think that your effort is worth a lot more than what you're currently earning.
Especially when you hear other like friends or a relative talking about this position in this company. Actually, you're in the same position but different company, and that guy has higher pay than you.
That's one of the reasons. And another one is no room for growth. So, it's also self-explanatory. It means that there are no chances for promotion.
Mm-hmm.
So you're pretty much stuck in whatever position you're in. So this usually happens for BPO companies, especially for agents or representatives who aren't given much space.
So we're talking about established BPO
Yeah.
companies here, not the
Not the
startups.
Yeah, not the startups. So of course, if you've been working in a specific company for, let's say, more than a year, of course you would be looking for at least some measurement of growth. So that's one of the reasons why some people also leave. And I thought, in my own experience, I will actually get to that later. But I almost left the company that I was working
Because of this
for.
reason.
Because basically the campaign we were in didn't really offer too much room to grow or enough room to grow. That's why I was contemplating.
But I'm just a little curious here. What do you value more? Do you value career or the money you're getting?
A little of both. So of course, if the main reason that you have a job or the main reason why you apply for a position is, of course, to earn. But on the other side, it also has something to do about the growth experience that you can get. Right? So if you're not growing, if you're not learning new things, then it might be a sign, or it might actually be a very good reason for you to look for, of course, other positions or other
Okay,
another job.
let's say you got the job you wanted. For example, you want a supervisory position, and you're already in that position, but you fell into the case of the first reason why company employees leave their job. You're not being paid enough for that position.
Well, I think this is gonna be negotiable, especially if you're in a position already that you can handle people. Especially if you're in a supervisory position, you might be able to negotiate this, especially if you have the right skills or the right amount of qualifications. If you meet the qualifications, then you might be able to ask for a raise, or they might actually give that to you by themselves. You don't even have to ask.
Oh.
There are some cases where this happens in specific companies.
Well, in BPO, I don't think you can ask for a raise.
It depends. It depends on. Especially there are actually some cases where alignments happen. So,
Well, alignments are reasonable.
so alignments. That's pretty much the most reasonable way for you to get a raise in your salary. But
Personally, if you ask for a raise, will that happen?
more likely no. More likely no. And yes.
I just want to be clear on that.
Yep.
Next.
But again, it's gonna depend on what type of platform you're in, what type of working.
Oh yeah. This is only for BPO.
Yeah, it's for you. And the next one is for toxic environment.
This we're talking about toxic workmates, toxic supervisors, management, toxic equipment, even. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah. It also has an effect because if you would be working every day, you'd be spending more than 9 hours or 8 hours a day
Yeah.
in a specific place. And of course, at work, since that's pretty much where you spend your time, and you're not really able to appreciate this or your surroundings because the people around you tend to complain a lot, or the supervisors you have tend to
Ignore all those.
ignore, or sometimes they
complaints.
even
Take sides.
take
Like
sides.
politics.
Yeah, well, politics. Yes, that's also one of the grounds for toxic environments. And
Actually, back in my job, politics are. How would I say this? It's everywhere.
yeah,
Well,
well,
even other companies
yes,
have it, right?
even other work environments or
Yeah.
even other work.
There will always be
platforms.
politics.
So it doesn't really matter if you're in a corporate office,
BPO
or
industry,
BPO hospitals,
industry.
or whatever food industry. It happens. Especially the ones who are closer to the managers and the supervisors, they usually get a lot of favors. So that's also under the toxic environment reason. Of course, if you're not enjoying what you're doing because of your environment, of course, it's better for you to just leave to find another company that will be able to offer you a more friendly environment
or less toxic.
or less toxic. Yeah. And the next one is dead-end job.
It's somewhat similar to no room for
Yeah,
growth.
it's somewhat similar to no room for growth, because again, if you're in a dead-end job, you're stuck in that position.
Yes.
No matter how
You-
long
you don't see a future in that position.
you don't have any more. You're not learning anything, or you're not able to find any room for promotion.
Mhm.
So that's also one of the reasons, which is pretty much the same as number 2, which is for no room for growth.
Well, in my case, dead-end job has a little different meaning from that. In my case, I left my job because I thought I'm kind of wasting my time.
Mhm.
Like, this will not build the future that I'm wishing for. The future that I want to be in, if you get what I mean.
Yeah. The next one is profit-centered management. So basically, this is
They care more about the numbers
they
than their
care more about the
employees.
numbers. They usually care more about the results, but they don't really look at how you would be able to achieve, or they don't really put any effort in helping you achieve those results. So it's like they're asking you to try to convert glitter into gold. That's pretty much how you would be able to compare it.
In
And
layman's term, they're asking, for example, there's a scenario where you need to render OT. And then if you're sick, and then they're forcing you to render the
Yeah.
OT.
we're compromising your own health. And well, in a BPO setting, of course, I work sales. I work in outbound sales, and there are some cases where some people complain about the leads that they're getting. So of course, if let's say that your supervisor is asking you to convert those leads, even if you aren't even able to talk to a single customer, so it actually affects your thinking for that day.
So let's just be clear. What are leads? These are the customers you're
Yeah,
calling?
leads are basically numbers.
Prospects.
Yeah, prospects.
Okay.
And the next one is for slow advancement. So of course this applies, or a very good example for this is if you've been in a company for
2 to 4 years.
2 to 4 years or more than 4 years, and you're still in the same position, even if they open up positions or other vacancies for higher positions, if they open up applications for that, they usually just take one or two. At most 2 people, so you're not really given a chance to get the higher position.
I usually see this scenario in banks.
Uh-huh.
Whenever I go to the bank, like let's say I went to the bank in 2015, and I see the same people this year.
They're still clerks.
Yes. For example, in BDO or Union Bank, I see the same people in that same position.
Yeah, they're still bank tellers.
So the problem there is there aren't many positions in the bank.
Yeah.
So if one opens up,
you get the tellers and then you get the manager.
it's gonna be like Hunger Games, right?
Yeah. So it has something to do with the amounts of opportunities that the company opens up. Of course,
right.
if they frequently open up opportunities for promotions or positions for higher positions, then of course growth and advancement would also be faster, quicker.
Yeah. Some obstacle in this will be the location of, let's say, in the bank. Your branch is in Marikina, and then some higher position opens up in Pasay or Ayala, somewhere further in your location. So you're gonna think about it twice.
Yeah, and another factor for this would be the range of the hierarchy in your setting. Again, it's gonna depend. For example, in the bank, there are only around 2 to 3 positions, right? You get the tellers, the managers, and the owner.
Yeah.
So if there's just 3 positions, and then a position opens up for the manager, let's say, then of course you have a lot of tellers trying to apply for that position. So of course they're only gonna get 1 or 2 at most. Right? So if there's a higher range for the hierarchy. For example, in a BPO setting, you have the agents, you have team leaders, you have the program managers, operations managers, site managers, and all that. You have there are a lot of steps, which of course for example, you have for TLs, for team leaders, there's more than one team.
Yes, and in the BPO industry, there's a lot of opportunity for growth.
Yeah.
Because you won't know if an account will ramp up.
Or if they're going to start up a new account or start a new campaign. So it actually opens up a lot of positions. But again, it's going to depend on how established the company is.
Yes.
So if it's just a startup, you would be expecting like 2 to 3 teams, let's say. But if it's been around for more than 10 years, then you never know, you might actually be applied for a higher position.
Unless they open a new account.
Yeah, of course, if they open a new account. And the next one is ill-mannered supervisor. Well, this also falls under the toxic environment, or either toxic environment or profit-centered management. So these are usually the ones who...
It's a combination of both.
It's a combination of both. These are usually the ones who demand for results but don't really help you in achieving the results they're asking for. Or
so let's just not beat around the bush. These are the managers who don't know how to motivate people, their employees. They use degradation instead of motivation.
And they're usually the ones who actually humiliate employees, their subordinates. They're asking for results, but instead of encouraging you or giving you more advice for that, they degrade you, they humiliate you. And usually these are the ones who are ill-tempered as well. They have very short fuses, or they're straight up rude. So these are the people that, of course, the management actually need to look into as well. Of course, if you would be hiring people for supervisor positions, they should know how to communicate or handle people as well.
Yeah, so more of those will go into our second chapter.
Yeah, we'll be talking more about that later. And the next one is clean work environment.
Plain. So traditional office setting will consist of just work.
Yeah.
Quote unquote work. You won't see anything that will be entertaining or can distract you from your work.
Or these are that's the basic standard for work environment, which is actually what BPO companies changed.
Yeah.
If you had this, we actually have a team in the company. It's called our engagement team.
Mhm.
They're usually the ones coming up with activities or
Like
programs. They're the ones organizing that.
What's the name for that? I forgot the name.
Employee engagement. That's what we call ours.
I think that position is called R&R in our company. It's rewards and recognition.
Rest and relaxation.
Okay, yeah, like same concept for that.
Yeah, and usually with the BPO, we actually had a couple already this year. For the past couple of years, for example, if you were a part of the top team of sales, they actually sent you to Boracay. Or they had incentives where they sent you on off vacation and all that, and they covered most of the expenses. So they covered accommodation, travel. All you had to take care of was your pocket money.
So as long as you perform well,
as long as
they're gonna
you
reward you.
It's basically reward for what you're doing. And there are also some programs which we had a couple of weeks ago. It was for Flores de Mayo, right? And there was like a
Santa Cruzan.
Yeah, something like that. They actually had like a pageant. So there were 3 girls, and the 3.
Only 3.
Yeah, they picked 3 each. Okay. 3 girls and then 3 men with girls.
Okay, so we also used to have that in our own. Actually, they did one this year also. I think it's a yearly tradition in our company.
Yeah, they also did that last year in ours. And well, of course, it's pretty much a way for you to break the norm in an office environment or in a work environment.
Less jobs.
If the job is too boring or stressful and then you don't have these, people will tend to leave because
it's all robotic.
Yeah, of course. You have to make sure that your employees are also having fun. It can't be all this work because you're gonna lose employees that way. And
the last one
that we have is
unrecognized achievement.
It's also pretty self-explanatory. If, for example, you hit a target, your target, especially in sales, if you hit your target and it just goes by unsaid, it's of course it's gonna frustrate you that you put in so much effort and then it's just gonna go by.
What I hear a lot from my workmates and in my personal experience as well, if you do 5 things correct, 5 things right, and then one mistake, what they will notice will be that one thing that is wrong.
Yeah, that's actually the wrong thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Is that fun?
Yeah, did you find it funny?
It's very funny. Okay. So whenever you get a thing or a task correctly, you finish a task well, they ignore it, they don't pay attention to it. But if you commit a mistake, that's the time they only notice.
They usually blow it up to bigger proportions.
Yeah, it's like a mom that does not give you love whenever you do something right.
And then you get the spanking for doing one.
That's right.
And of course, if you have to be fair. If you see that your employees are doing things right, they're actually putting in the effort and they're also giving you the numbers that you're asking for, even sometimes more than what you were asking for. It should just be fair that you at least recognize them,
your achievements as well.
Yeah. And it's also going to depend on how you would be able to acknowledge these achievements. Because in the BPO company, in our company, for example, if you hit your target for like 3 months, if you're good with the target for 3 months, they actually give you an appraisal. Right? For sales, for the sales position, there are 4 levels. You get level 1 to level 4, and each level has a specific amount for your basic salary.
An increase in pay.
Yeah, you get an increase for hitting the target, and of course, maintaining, being consistent in hitting the target. Getting your achievements. Yeah, we actually have this thing at
Employee engagement.
Yeah, it's handled by the employee engagement. They it happens at least once a month that top performers, they tell everybody to stop what they're doing. They announce who the top performers are. And there are actually some cases. I think this happened last month. One person from each campaign. We have different campaigns. We have like migration, inbound and outbound, and then levels for like mobility, build, and platform. At least one person from each campaign. The top performer for that campaign got like I think that was around 10K.
Cash reward.
Yeah, that was a cash reward, and it was being announced all over the floor, and everybody was expecting. Everybody was laughing and happy, especially the winners. It's one way of recognizing achievements and
at the same time releasing the tension from work.
Yeah,
it's a good break for everyone.
Yeah. All right. So, well, those are some of the reasons why employees leave companies.
Now we're gonna go to.
But of course, if you have other reasons why you think employees leave companies, you can actually comment down below. Send us a tweet about that.
Yeah, that's right.
And you can tweet us on ProudSpeakPH Twitter.
Facebook, Twitter.
Yeah. And you can comment down below. It's this is going to be posted on Facebook page as well. You can just comment down below, like, share, subscribe, and the next part.
Now we're gonna go to. We talked about the issue why employees leave companies. Now we're gonna give a bit of advice or some recommendations on how employers and employees can avoid these kind of situations,
or how they can solve these issues,
or at least lessen your attrition rate.
Yeah, the attrition rate. Yeah. And of course, we're being fair on this. We're giving recommendations for both the employers and employees. So it's not just a one-sided thing.
Yeah, and take note, we didn't have this scripted at all. We're just taking it from heart.
Based on what we were talking about earlier. So with the low pay, again, it's really going to depend. It is going to depend on what you can do.
Well, if employers can increase the pay,
they should actually look into it, especially if they see that the employees are complaining. It needs to be something that they look into. Because if your employees are complaining about the low pay and they say that they are being overworked, you need to look into that just to make sure that they are being overworked and underpaid.
Because I know what you guys are gonna say. If I was in the employer's shoes right now, I will say just quit. Right? Just leave the company.
But again, if it's
more than you really care about your employees.
If it's more than one person complaining, and
there's something not right about it.
And you tell them that if you're not content with your pay, then you can just leave. You're gonna lose a lot of employees.
Like a lot.
So the best thing to do would be to look into it to see if it is rational.
Right.
Just to make sure that what you're paying them is actually worth the effort that you're also asking for them. Because if you think that it's just a couple of people complaining that the pay is low, just comparing themselves or over patronizing themselves based on what they're being paid for with the work that they're or with the effort they're exerting, it's really gonna depend. And well, no room for growth. It's actually for
the employees.
Well, one of the reasons why you don't see any room for growth is it's either you're too content with the position,
you're too focused on what you want.
Yeah,
you're not seeing any other opportunities around you.
Because it actually happened. There are some cases where, for example, you're in sales, and then you're eyeing, for example, the team lead position. What opens up is like a trainer or for a different department.
Quality analyst position.
Quality analyst, which also does provide a higher pay. But of course, since you're too fixed on the team lead position, then you tend to ignore the other opportunities that are actually open up. And of course, you have to make sure that you're qualified. You have the right qualifications, the right attitude for a specific position that you would want to have. So if you're if you're looking to get a team lead position but you're not really able to perform that well in your current position, then of course you might not be considered. Even if, for example, they open up a team lead position as well.
So my advice, all subjective, guys. If you're eyeing a position or you're aiming for a specific position, just make sure that you have a secondary option so that if ever there's no available space for you to advance, just go to your secondary position and you can always go to the first position.
Yeah, or broaden your horizons.
That's right. That's correct.
You see everything. You look at everything. Look at all the opportunities you have, not just one specific thing.
Tunnel vision.
Yeah, tunnel vision. Yeah, that's what we can recommend. Especially this is actually direct towards employees who are complaining that they're not that they're not given any room for growth. And of course, if you've already exhausted all of the positions, or if they're not really opening anything up, and if you're not really learning anything, then you might be able to consider leaving.
Yeah,
but of course, exhaust all the possible options first before leaving.
That's right.
And for toxic environment, it's actually something that you just need to learn to live with.
Yeah, but we can break this down into little bits and pieces. If you have toxic workmates, well, you can just avoid them in general, right?
Yeah.
Are there some cases that you can avoid your workmate?
It's gonna depend. Because if, for example, that toxic workmate of yours is like your seatmate or teammate, that's for companies with designated
designated
seat
plan.
Yeah, seat plan or teams. So if that person is your teammate, or if you're sitting next to that person or around that person, you can either learn to live with how, or
go straight to the point and tell him, I don't like you, just don't talk to me, okay?
Yeah. Or try to find the middle ground.
Oh yeah.
Don't take it to the extreme. don't start a fight.
Okay.
Again, toxic environments is going to be part of all workplaces. It's something that
you can avoid.
It's something you can never avoid. And dead-end job, again, you just have to broaden your horizons.
For dead-end jobs,
have to exhaust all the possible options first. But again, with the dead-end job...
Well, for dead-end job, my case was totally different from other people. Because in my case, I wanted to really shift into a different industry. I don't want to be in the BPO industry anymore, so my only choice is to leave.
And then the next one is for profit center management. This is basically going to be directed towards the
management.
Yeah. Because of course, if you have to look at your benefits for your employees as well, right? If you're asking for numbers, you need to learn to look into the status of your employees.
Mm-hmm. Learn how to ask, how are you?
Or also, learn how to ask, or better yet, put yourself in your employee's position.
That's right.
Imagine yourself in that position and someone else higher than you is asking for results. I'm sure you would feel the same way.
Mm-hmm.
And you can say it's like the circle of life in a company, but again, it won't hurt you or your pride to consider how your employees feel, because again, they're actually the ones doing the work for you. They're the ones putting in the effort. You're the one managing, but again, they're actually putting in the raw effort.
Yeah, that's right.
To provide the numbers and provide the results.
Yeah. So the next one is slow advancement. So it's like kind of similar to other things that we discussed earlier, like dead-end job and room for improvement.
But
for growth.
For slow advancement, it's more directed towards the employer as well.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, if you open up more opportunities, especially for higher positions, if it's available, then your employees won't complain as much.
Oh yeah.
Because again, one of the main reasons why there's slow advancement in a company is the lack of opportunities.
That's right.
Or the lack of positions opening up. We're not saying that you should fire people in the higher positions that you can just open and run, but
that's a good option. If you see someone that is not performing well,
in a higher position,
and you see somebody in the lower position that is more qualified for that job.
So it's gonna depend, but again, just for employers, broaden or increase the amount of opportunities they give to your employees so that they won't leave. The next one is for ill-mannered supervisors, which is very relatable to all of us. I'm sure you had at least one supervisor who you might have hated.
Yeah, that bastard supervisor. You're killing him multiple times inside your mind.
You really have to do that.
Him or her? Okay.
Okay, never mind. And yeah, it's gonna be directed towards both employees and employers. For employees, if you're gonna apply for a supervisor position, make sure you have the right attitude.
That's right.
Because if you're not good at handling people, or if you're not a people person, all you're gonna do is just ask for results, but not help. Because that's your main job. Your main job,
Leadership.
as a supervisor, is to assist,
Lead.
and support your subordinates. You're not just there. You're not a the leader and the boss, right? Remember? Do you know that comparison?
No.
A leader is someone who,
Oh yeah. I remember.
right? A boss is just someone who tells people what to do, but a leader is actually someone who also does the work with
The team.
the team. So if you're not able to treat your subordinates properly, then it might not be a good idea to apply for that higher position. And of course, on the management or the employer's side, if you're gonna hire someone for a higher position, make sure that they also have the right qualities. They're most likely they should be people persons. Of course, they should be both a people person and of course results oriented.
Well, leadership skill is an acquired skill. It can be learned and honed and improved in a matter of years or months or weeks, maybe weeks.
It depends on the learning curve.
Yeah, just remember that your underlings, can we call that that?
Mhm.
Your underlings are also human beings. They have feelings, emotions.
Subordinates.
They get tired as well.
They're not just machines who
That's right.
you just push buttons and then they're gonna do it for you.
Maybe they're machines who can be that profit-centered leader, but they're human beings.
Well, plain work environment, we actually just tackled that. Most companies have your company had your R&R, we have our employee engagement.
And we have arcade games, we have billiard tables, right? Yeah, we have billiard tables and then movie nights and a lot of exciting stuff. Last one is unrecognized achievement.
Alright, well, it's gonna go through the employers or the ones in higher positions. Of course, learn to recognize the achievements that your
Appreciate the little things.
Learn to appreciate the little things, because if not, then you never know, people might leave the company. You might actually be losing good people, right? Just because you're not recognizing their achievements or showing them appreciation.
Yeah, we know this is a small thing to be upset about, but if your employee is under stress for a prolonged time, this small thing can escalate to
It's
like a snowball.
It usually blows up.
Yeah.
And yeah, so those are just some of the things that you can do. Of course, again, if you have any suggestions on what companies or what employers
down below.
can do, just comment down below. Tweet us. Again, it's CrowdSpeakPH on Twitter. So just tweet us. And okay, AJ, any experiences you'd like to share?
Well, I've been, I won't say a victim, but I've been on the side of the employees where I experienced the low pay, like overworked, underpaid, or no room for growth back when I was an employee. I was an entry-level position and toxic environment, certainly. Dead-end job. Yes, I've already shared my experience back a while ago. Well-managed supervisors.
You're not gonna name drop. Are you gonna name
I'm not
drop?
gonna name drop. But I've already said my part on this. Just remember that your employee or the ones under you are also human beings. They have feelings and emotions, and they are also stressed. And just treat them well, like they're human. That's all I could say. How about you?
Well, on my part, again, toxic environment is something that you just need to learn to live with. You can't change everything. I had Ashley saw saying, or read a saying, change what you can, and then accept what you can't.
Like control what can be controlled.
Yeah. So if by your environment you can't change everybody, you can't please everyone.
That's
So
right.
just learn to live with that. And of course, if you think that your environment is too toxic, if it's too unbearable, no point in stressing yourself out. Just learn to live with it. Or if you can't live with it, then that's the time for you to leave.
Or maybe just look for another opportunity where you can leave that spot.
Yeah. Or look for a different position.
Yeah.
Broaden your
New set of
opportunities,
friends.
a new set of friends, or higher position, new team, and well, for the no room for growth, I could actually relate to this, or the slow advancement, because I was I've been working in sales for 4 years already,
That's amazing.
almost 4 years.
Okay.
And I was in a position where the entry level was level 1.
Mhm.
Entry level position was level 1, and I was in that position for like 3 years. And for
All about sales.
all about sales. It doesn't really matter if we were in. I was in inbound, outbound, and all that. But I was in that position for 3 years. I wasn't seeing any growth. Career growth. I was learning things, but I wasn't able to apply that to get a higher position. And for that 2 years, I was actually telling myself or telling other people I'm going to be resigning soon. But good thing that I didn't. We had a change of supervisor, and well, he was actually the one who gave me the opportunity or the chance to level up. Hi, EJ. Hi, EJ.
Hello, EJ.
Yeah, he was the one who gave me the chance to level up. And after that, of course, he was my supervisor for like more than a year as well. And then it came to redundancy. And then, of course, we're back to the new campaign. Then, well, inbound supervisors, you can't change that. I actually had one before when we were endorsed the new campaign that we're in right now. We had the supervisor we were endorsed to was ill-mannered. He had a very short fuse, but thankfully, after about a week, they decided to put a new team, and they put a new team leader in that campaign. So we're under her right now. So it got a lot better because she knows how to handle people, and she knows the struggle of what we're doing. So she doesn't really pressure us too much. She's there asking for results, but she also offers you help. Especially
She cares about.
yeah, she cares she cares on how you're doing your job as well. And well, unrecognized achievements. If again, it's gonna depend on the company, but if you work your ass off,
It will pay off.
yeah, it's gonna pay off
Eventually.
eventually. Not unless your supervisors are too blind to see that.
Mhm.
And all right, so again, before that's
I just want to say something before you end this phase of our talk.
Yep.
The one you said earlier about slow advancement, you've been in sales for 4 years, right?
Mhm.
Looking at the bright side, you've acquired a sales experience.
special skills.
Yeah, specific set of skills in sales for 4 years. That's very valuable for anyone who's wanting to be successful in life. Because if you advance into a TL position a little bit earlier, that position will require a different set of skills.
Yeah.
You will be developing more on leadership than on sales.
Managing people.
That's right. So I guess that's a good skill to gain.
Well, yeah, sales, you gain a lot of things. You learn, especially we're making sales through calls, right? So you're able to hone your communication skills, right? You learn how to deal with different kinds of people,
Yeah.
with different races and all that, because each race has their own specific attitude.
As soon as you retire, like what I've experienced a few weeks back, I realized how much I've learned back when I was still in that company.
All right. So again, those are what we experienced. Again, we both worked in BPO companies. I'm still working in that same BPO company, which was my first job. I've had that job for almost 4 years.
You have something to say, some saying to impart to the audience that will increase their
Alright.
knowledge of it.
Alright. Well, I actually read something on the internet. It was from Ron Kaufman.
Ron
Kaufman. He said that employees are the key to your success with customers. Treat them well.
Actually, I kind of have a similar quote in mind. I don't recall who that person was. Maybe I'm just going to put it in the description, but he said that you should treat your customers, you should treat your employees the way you treat your customers. So the better you treat your customers, they will reciprocate through treating
Yeah, they're
The way you
customers-
treat your employees, they will reciprocate through treating your customers
Yep.
better. That's where your company will find success, or you
Yep.
will find success. Yes, that's all for this episode.
That's all for this episode. Again, like, share, subscribe. Like our Facebook page.
At
ProudSpeakPH.
ProudSpeakPH, our Instagram at ProudSpeakPH as well.
Follow us on Twitter, ProudSpeakPH.
And of course, if you have topics that you want us to discuss, just tweet us at, our Twitter.
ProudSpeakPH, or send us a message on Facebook.
That's right.
Or if you're willing to go that way, you can go through Instagram, send us a DM.
That's right. Okay.
And yeah.
How do we end this usually? This is CrowdSpeak.
Alright, this is ProudSpeak. Say it louder.
Say it
guys.
louder.